Hello and welcome back to the Rekt Capital channel, and welcome to today's video update about my perspective about Bitcoin going into the halving and beyond it, but only insofar until the end of 2020. So let's dive right into the video. I hope you're having a fantastic day so far. Let's look at the daily, and we're going to be zooming out bit by bit until we actually reach the 12 monthly chart, and we're going to talk about each chart individually in a bit more detail. So let's dive into the daily over here. We know that we have this triangular market structure right over here, and Bitcoin is currently at this black diagonal resistance, the resistance to this macro market structure, this long-term perspective that we have on a technical level for Bitcoin. We're at a very key juncture right over here, and I'm going to zoom in to this portion of price action just to give you an idea as to what to potentially expect in terms of fake outs and rejections, potential rejections, of course. So let's zoom in here on the daily. And of course, we are right over here. We're seeing a lot of volatility here to the upside, to the downside, FOMO wicking up and panic selling down because people are afraid of rejection or whatever the case may be, whatever the emotions are. They are combustible elements, extreme emotions at this resistance over here. And of course, a lot of the time people tend to become bullish at resistance. But what we need to bear in mind here is that every time Bitcoin has been at this resistance, we've seen tremendous FOMO wicks. We've seen extreme emotion, much like we're seeing right now. But that emotion was more extreme, and we may even see more extreme emotion come in shortly over the next few days as Bitcoin tries to hang at these highs. But in any case, FOMO wicks are quite likely. But also candle closes on the daily time frame are quite likely as well. We've seen this in the past before, and this is interesting to me because candle closes on the daily, those are my favorite confirmations, one of my favorite confirmations on higher time frames. Candle closes above a structure as well as a subsequent pullback into the old resistance to test it as a new support. Those are the two confirmations I always look for, and over here we have actually two daily candle closes above this resistance. A bit of volatility in the next candle, a pull back into this old resistance to test it as a support, but ultimately no volume to prop price up towards the upside into a new uptrend. We see a strong pullback, a rejection, a pullback past this old resistance, a failed support, and then again we see a fake out, even a candle close. But then that candle close actually gets cancelled the next day. So what I'm just showcasing to you guys is a lower high here, right? A lower high, people are selling at lower and lower Bitcoin prices, and here's the next lower high. So this is essentially a sequence, a series of lower highs. People don't want to, or at least they don't have that confidence that Bitcoin is going to go to higher levels, so they keep selling at lower and lower Bitcoin prices, eventually leading to a very strong rejection towards the downside. So what I'm suggesting to you guys is that we aren't seeing a rapid sharp rejection like we saw over here, but as time has progressed, we've seen Bitcoin hang at these highs more and more, and this sort of tendency is repeating itself over here. And I don't want to say that we're gonna see rejection and a pullback. I don't want to convince you guys that that's my bias. I'm just trying to be objective about the charts and just say that that is more of a probable scenario at this time, because obviously people are going to be thinking this time is different. This time is different to this time, to this time, and to these times. And that's a scary trap to fall into because there's a lot of hope there. There's a lot of FA-based hype, and FA being the Bitcoin halving, which is a week away. There's a lot of hope and positive emotion associated with what we're seeing here. It's great to see Bitcoin at this resistance and to just see that we've recovered the major crash for really, we've recovered most of this crash already. So it's just great to see Bitcoin recover so much. And seeing at this resistance, struggling here a bit, I'd turn bullish once we see a break past this resistance. And not just candle closes, because we know that those candle closes have faked traders and investors out before. I'd like to see some real stability over here and a close on a higher time frame, which leads me to my next point. Because daily candle closes won't cut it, we know that if we just break out on the daily, pull back into that support like we're seeing over here, that support fails, and then that's not really a good confirmation of further trend continuation. So what I'd like to see is actually a close on the weekly, and the last time we actually got a weekly close past a very important diagonal, it was over here, right? I don't know if you guys remember that. I was covering this as well as it was happening. This was the diagonal from a few months back, going all the way here, and once we got that weekly close over here, that was the confirmation that we're going to move higher from this downtrending channel. So weekly closes have been pretty useful, for me at least, in the past, and that's what I'm going to be looking for should this resistance breach. And of course I am going to be open to that, guys. I am going to be open to a scenario, a bullish scenario, where we can close on the weekly past this resistance and we continue going up, because ultimately, should that happen, a new bull market will be confirmed, and that's the signal that I'd love to see and many of us would love to see. But we have to bear in mind that it's important to be realistic. It's important to bear in mind that people are going to be selling the news as we approach the halving. Whether that's in the next few days or even going into the halving, slightly even beyond it, investors are going to be selling the news. They're going to be cashing out their profits because they're none the wiser. They think that this is the halving pump, whereas we know through our analysis, our talks, our YouTube videos, the tweets I publish, my articles I publish, we know that the Bitcoin halving effect is longer lasting. It will last for years, and in fact, the Bitcoin halving effect to really take place will be via a breakout, and that's just going to be something that leads Bitcoin to a new all-time high in 2021 even. And we're actually going to be talking about that sort of scenario in a few moments. But in any case, Bitcoin hasn't fared well at this resistance on the weekly time frame, and you can see that this is a few weeks of hanging about at this resistance, 2 subsequent weeks of hanging about before a final rejection. So we're in that sort of transitional period, and that transitional period can obviously result in a breakout to the upside or a rejection. And I don't think we're going to see a stronger rejection this week even. This is what history suggests to us. We could see some hanging about here for a while, heading into the halving, and then only see a sell-off after the halving once people sell that news, after that hype is really bought up. And I think that hype has been really priced in so far in the short term. That's at least the technical side of things. That's what the technicals are suggesting to us. So, well, let's move on and let's zoom out to the monthly. This green area was an important reference point for price for me on March 22nd. Since recovering from the very bottom of this black triangular market structure, and now, or at least then, a few weeks back right now, this was the level to hold on to for Bitcoin, and that's the level that was going to propel Bitcoin to the upper half of this triangle. And this is essentially the upper half, right? This part right over here. As we fast forward, May 5th, today, we've seen a nice bounce. We saw a candle close on the monthly above the 6,200 level, right? This was the monthly close that was really important to happen above this green area to really propel it to higher levels. So that was a very good monthly close, and we saw a nice 40% rally towards the upside, I think. So amazing. And then of course the April candle close rejected from here, pulled back a bit just to form this upside wick, and now we're in May and we're pretty much at this resistance right now. Interesting times, because what we're seeing from this candle, or at least the candle body of this candle, is that it engulfs the monthly candle from the previous month. So April engulfs March, and that's a bullish sign. That's really good. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to break out straight away this month over here. It could mean that. Of course. That is a possibility. But we are at that resistance. And until we break past that resistance, guys, there's no need to be overly bullish, overly optimistic. It's wise to really wait for that confirmation past that resistance if you want to be buying past that resistance, to just catch that trend continuation that's most likely going to happen, that confirmation in a new bull market. Really important because we are at this resistance right now. It's only 5 days into May, and being this young of a monthly candle, it's very precarious to just trade off of this very young candle. But it is a bullish sign that we've recovered. We've engulfed March. We've engulfed the monthly candle from March. That's great news on the monthly. That's what I wanted to cover about the monthly. But let's zoom out to the quarterly, the 3-month chart. This is also the sort of thing that I was talking about in the tweet, the slowing down in the momentum. And this quarterly chart was really good in showcasing that sell side exhaustion. I mentioned in a previous video where we saw that sell side exhaustion in the form of volume bars. On the or at least the quarterly, on the quarterly chart, you can actually see without the volume, you're seeing slowing down in the sell side momentum in the candles. These candles are just slowing down, getting smaller and smaller as they approach this green area, obviously with some wicking towards the downside, but in any case, this curling up in price action over here. And that's essentially the moment which preceded really strong movement towards the upside. That was a 40% rally. The last time that Bitcoin had back-to-back subsequent quarterly candle closes was back here, and we saw tremendous upside. So we are gonna see tremendous upside. If the next quarterly candle opens outside of this structure, then rest assured we're going to see more movement towards the upside. And the last time we've seen back-to-back candle closes on the quarterly was in 2019, early 2019, and then even before then, that was in 2017. So rest assured, a quarterly candle close, the next one outside of this structure, that's going to be fantastic news. And we can't get ahead of ourselves just yet until this resistance is breached. And as we zoom out more and more now to the 10 weekly time frame over here, and we have around 5 weeks left until the next 10-week close. But in any case, this 10-week close was really useful in just tapping the bottom of this market structure, showcasing that we're actually seeing a doji candle, which is usually a reversal candlestick formation, and of course that's exactly what we got later on in the 10 weekly candle. So you can see how I'm just using and layering all of these higher time frame charts just to build a cohesive, coherent picture of what Bitcoin could potentially do next. And all of them right now, they are running into the same resistance and rejecting from it. So there's no need to talk about what Bitcoin could potentially do next after breaching that resistance, because a rejection from here could be a probable scenario next, right? Because we have to see potential more coiling and price compression in between these two levels of the triangular market structure. But in any case, whatever happens in the next few weeks or months, we still have more than half a year to go for Bitcoin's price action. And if we look at this March 3rd 12-month time frame chart that I posted for Bitcoin, we have 4-year cycles for Bitcoin. And basically speaking, candle number 1 is the exponential uptrend before a pullback, a corrective year. After all of that exponentiality, the bottoming out phase in candle number 3 and number 4, which is all about just breaking past this candle body high and closing above this candle body high, not necessarily the wick, but above the candle body high, closing above it on the 12 monthly at the end of the year, just to confirm that we're going to see candle number 1, the exponentiality, once again. So a few months ago, before the massive crash, the historic crash, we saw that this candle number 4 was potentially setting itself up for much of the same. So this is the exponential candle, this is the pullback candle, this is the bottoming out candle, and 4 needs to close above 14,300 later in 2020. It needs to close above the top of this candle body in order to really precede another candle 1 into an exponential 2021. So a few months ago, this is what candle number 4 looked like. And the historic crash was really something. It's something we won't forget anytime soon. But on a higher time frame like the 12 monthly time frame, this downward wick is just minor volatility in the grander scheme of things. And in fact, this candle number 4 looks very much like candle number 3. And at this point in time, of course, all we can say about candle number 3 is that it preceded candle number 4 and a close above this level right over here. So candle number 3 was a bullish hammer, essentially speaking, in terms of candlestick analysis. A bullish hammer which prompted a reversal towards the upside. It was a good precursor to further trend continuation, and candle number 4 is looking very similar to that at this point in time, which is a very positive sign. Even if we see some rejection, this candle is going to most likely change, but it's good to see that this is in a bullish framework at the moment. But in any case, this candle number 4, whatever happens in the next few weeks and months, I'd like this candle to close above 14,300. And should we see that, and should we see a close above 14,000 at the end of this year, this 4-year cycle is still going to be very much in the balance, and an exponential candle in 2021 is going to be very much likely. But at the moment, it's still very much on the cards. It's still a possibility, because after this wick towards the downside to 3,800, roughly speaking, that was a massive opportunity for many investors, but we're seeing that this is really minor volatility in the grander scheme of things, and this candle number 4 is still in the running for potentially closing above this level. It's still in the running. It's not down and out. It is still a possibility with over 6 months left to go. So that's something I'm going to be looking for at the end of 2020. This candle close above 14,000, and rest assured I'm going to update you guys in the days as we approach the end of the year, in the days, weeks, months. And at the end of the year, once we get that candle close, I'm going to keep you guys posted regularly. This is my perspective for Bitcoin going into the halving and beyond it insofar until the end of this year. Those are the price points that I'm looking for when it comes to confirming a bull market. Of course, confirming a bull market would be closing on a higher time frame outside of this black triangular market structure. And once we get that, it's very likely that we could see 14,000 near the end of the year from Bitcoin, and a 12-month close above that would be fantastic to seeing 2021 in all of its splendor, in all of its exponential splendor. So that's something I'm watching out for. The next few videos I'm going to focus on will be very much focused on the halving, so stay tuned for those. Subscribe if you haven't. Of course, please consider dropping a like if you enjoyed the video. That's about it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm Rekt Capital, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Speak soon.